Hello, I'm Alberto. I'm a stutterer, and for a whole month, I challenged myself doing things that I hate as a stutterer, and this is how I feel now. I have always had a very toxic relationship with my stutter because since I was a kid, it's a part of me that I always try to reject, to hide. But it just got to a point that right after COVID, after this last few years from 2020 to 2023, I isolated myself a lot. The period of isolation after COVID made me really sit down with my thoughts, with myself, analyzing everything in my life. My confidence that I used to have really just like almost disappeared. And that really impacted my stutter too. As soon as you take me out of my comfort zone, which is this room where I am right now, my stutter just really shows itself so much. And because now I'm not as confident as I used to be when I'm outside, I don't know how to coexist with my stutter when I am outside of my comfort zone. And that's why I wanted to challenge myself to try to like expand my comfort zone through exposure therapy, which is just going out there and do the things that you hate. The feeling of being about to stutter or the fear of stuttering is truly something that only us stutterers can understand. Like the feeling when you see a person approaching your group of friends and you know that you're about to introduce yourself and you have to say your name. Those seconds before trying to say your name, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but for me, I literally feel like I'm about to jump from a mountain. It's really something extremely stressful. But do you know what though? What I'm realizing is that after a whole month that I challenged myself and I actually had to introduce myself many times and even stuttered a few times while saying my name, I realized that the more that you do it, it's not that you stop being afraid of it because I think it's a trauma that goes so deep that I feel like I'm always going to be a little bit afraid of saying my name to someone that I don't know. But I care less if I stutter, if it makes sense. Because the thing is, what I think is very important and that I wasn't really experiencing that was so useful for me to know is to actually be present in those moments where the worst actually happens. For example, for me, introducing myself and saying my name is something that like top 3 things that make me the most stressed. Saying my name and stuttering while saying my name makes me almost feel like I'm disappointing myself. I'm not giving a great impression. I am just not showing who I truly am. And this way of thinking is because I associate myself with not being a starter, which is not true. Being a starter is a part of who I am, and that makes me me. And so I think that this experience is teaching me that it's totally okay to be a stutterer, which might sound a little like simple as a concept, but in reality, in my experience, I've always had a hard time accepting this side of myself. Mind you, before 2024, where I started this journey, I never even talked about it to my close friends, to people that I know, barely to my family, that it was really something that was stressing me. Of course, my family knew that I was a starter because I grew up, with them and they saw me going to school and starting a million times. But it was one of those topics that but you don't talk about it, if it makes sense. So this experience really is allowing me to understand that for me, stuttering is okay. Being a stutterer is okay. And people don't really care at the end of the day. So to go more in depth of what I actually did this month, so one of my friends just wrote a movie. He wrote the script of a movie and he did this thing called a table read. What basically is that he invited his friends and people that he knew to his place to read the script of his movie. So every person had a character from the script, and we all had to read the script out loud in front of in front of everybody. And mind you, I only knew like three people there for that event. So when I went there, I had to introduce myself to a lot of people. Plus, I had to read in front of people that I barely knew. So it was an experience that really gave me a lot of anxiety. I think like that was like one of the hardest thing low key that I've done over the last few years. So going there, my heart was racing. I really was just like thinking, wow, I really could have said any excuse to not go, but I'm actually going, so let's do it. So I went there. I had to introduce myself at least like 5 or 6 times. And actually, I remember vividly that too, when I was introducing myself to one person, I started and I said my name like AJ, exactly like that. And do you know what though? I don't even think the person that I was introducing myself to understood that I was stuttering at that moment, because he literally had no reaction. While I was in my feelings about just having, just thinking that, oh shoot, now I just stuttered. So it is what it is, I guess. But then I was thinking, wow, he actually did not care. So that's exactly a perfect example of what I was talking about. I need to be exposed to, quote unquote, the worst that might actually happen for me, which is starting while saying my name, to understand that for the majority of people in the world, it's really not it's really nothing. It's really nothing that is as big as it is in my mind. It's not a shock. It's not a disappointment. It's not weird. It's just me. And I need to see it in order for my mind to understand that it's okay to be me. Because the bottom line, this self love journey is teaching me that I just simply have to enjoy being me. Right after that, we start this reading, right? We all sit down on the couch and we start reading the script. And do you know what? I actually, for some reason, I never even started once, I think. I think just the fact that I was there, I had a confidence boost just by going there, introducing myself to so many people, not seeing a reaction to my stutter. Like I really was getting confidence boost after confidence boost. And then I was reading and I was like, I was trying to feel like I was a different character, the character from the movie. And so I tried to channel a different me. I was extremely proud of that day. And that is a day that I will remember for a long time, because it's really something way outside of my comfort zone. Another thing that happened this month is that one of my part-time job is being a tutor. I teach Italian, which is my first language, and every single time that I have a lesson, of course, I have to talk a lot. Worrying about my stutter was something that was always there when I was having my lesson, but this last month, I really tried to not think about it. Throw all those thoughts outside of my mind and just be present and be like, I want to make the best lessons that I can. I don't care if I'm going to stutter. I'm going to read more. I'm going to read with my student instead of letting them read most of the lesson. I'm going to be more active. So I stuttered more, yes. But once again, the confirmation that it's not that big of a deal. No one ever looks at me with weird eyes or makes all those faces that in my nightmares, in my worst scenarios in my mind, I picture that people would do if I stutter. So I don't know. I'm just feeling like I've never in my life been more connected with my real self. And it's so raw and it's so uncomfortable, yes, but also like empowering, that who would have ever thought that for me, in order to feel better, I actually needed to stutter more in front of people. The more that I stutter, the less that I care, and like the more that I enjoy being me. A third example was also one example that really gave me a lot of anxiety, because I have a friend who is like ha, who has a big presence on social media, and so he invited me to a social media event for a movie. And mind you, this place was full of influencers and people that are big on social media, so like people who really have a strong personality. And I was feeling not that strong in that environment because I'm still working on my personality. I'm still working on getting my confidence back. And I feel like the event went fine. I feel like that also was very much outside of my comfort zone. I had to introduce myself many times. I didn't stutter, but a few times I said my name very like stretched out. It was one of those techniques that I learned to be more fluent. Like when you want to say some words that are difficult and you're under pressure, you slow down sometimes, you know? So one time I remember that I said my name like, AJ, which doesn't sound very natural, but it allowed me in that specific case to say my name without stuttering. And the person said, "Oh, you're AJ? Cool." Like, no reaction, no nothing. So, once again, even if we talk like that, even if we want to use those techniques to be more fluent and we think, "Oh, but I don't want to use those techniques because I sound weird if I talk that way." But people do not care like that. They're all in their heads. What we always forget are also two things. One, people are more intelligent, kind, and sweet than we think, and people are very accepting out there. And it's actually not a great thing for us to assume that every time we introduce ourselves, we're so scared of the reaction of the other person because we're scared of what they might think, as if we just take it for granted that they're gonna judge us. But most of the people are not really like that. They're not gonna judge me, myself, in the first place. If I talk to someone who has a speech impediment, I would never judge. So why do we think that why do we go outside of our homes and we go outside and we're so scared to speak as if everybody's going to judge us? It is not like that. And the second thing is that everybody's also in their mind for their insecurities, their thoughts, there are things that they're thinking in that moment. It's not just for stutterers that when we introduce ourselves, we have anxiety. So many people out there have anxiety for their own reasons. So we just got to remember that too. It's also the fact that I was out there. I was at a social media event. I was at a table read. I was in places where I was starting to feel before I started this journey that I don't even belong to those places now. Instead, I do. I do. You do. We belong in parties, clubs, high social environments. We belong there. There is a space, there is a chair, there is a couch for us. We have to just be ourselves. People are way more accepting than we think. Now, mind you, when I was in high school, not even high school, I was more in middle school and elementary school. Yes, I had people that were making fun of me. I got bullied for my stutter. I remember vividly a few times where it really hurt. But in the adults world, really, when you go out there, people have so many things that they think about. They have their own lives, and it does get better. People are really accepting. People are kind, and if they're not, if you can, cut them off, because you deserve so much better. And if you can't cut them off, talk to someone or talk to them and make them know that this really hurts you, and it is not fair, and it's not cool, and it's definitely like you're not in the wrong, they are. So just always think that it's not, it's really more about them and their own insecurities that they're projecting to you. So just claim your space. Just like be proud of who you are. And I still have my days where I feel like it's too hard, and days that I don't have the strength to go out and get a Starbucks coffee and say my name. Yes, I still do that, but I just started last year this journey and I want to keep on going. Please, if you're also on a journey, if you want to start, if you feel tired of feeling in your bubble, if you're feeling too scared of stepping out of your comfort zone, please write your comment here, write your thoughts. I would love to help you if I can. And also, just know that if you want to start, if you want to try something new and something different, please know that you don't have to jump too far too soon. Take one step at a time, and little by little, you will receive your flowers that you deserve. Feel free to comment with your thoughts and let me know what you think. If you would like to see more of this kind of videos, please feel free to like the video, to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you the best, and I'm sending you so much strength, and I will see you soon. Okay, have a nice rest of your summer. Bye bye.